Hi everyone, I am Rachel Dapar. I'm here to report to you about the concepts of socialization. But before that, I have a questions for you. Have you ever wondered how did we obtain the ability to communicate with other people and how we learn to differentiate between good or bad, ethical or unethical, moral or immoral, virtuous or virtuous conducts, or how did we acquire the skills to participate in other social activities? If you want to know, just keep on watching. So socialization is a lifelong social experience by which people develop their human potential and learn culture. Unlike other living species whose behaviors mostly or entirely set by biology, humans need social experience to learn their culture and to survive. So, socialization is the process through which we develop our personalities and human potential and learn about our society and culture, as well as which people become aware of, learn about, and conform to social norms and expectations in our society. Social experience is also the foundation of personality. A person's fairly consistent patterns acting, thinking, and feeling. Another term of socialization is acculturation. So there are many theories on how the self as a product of socialization is formed. We will examine the work of four researchers, the Sigmund Freud, Charles Coley, George Herbert Mead, and the Jean Piaget. So the first theory is the Freud's model of personality by Sigmund Freud 1856 to 1939, which combined basic needs and the influence of society into a model of personality with three parts. So the first part is the id, second is ego, and the last is superego. So the id is represent the human being's basic drives or biological and physical needs which unconscious and demand immediate satisfaction. So id is derived from the Latin word id. The id is the only component of personality that present from birth. Id is entirely unconscious that we are unaware of its workings, and it represents the inner world of subjective experience. In the human personality, the superego refers to the cultural values and norms internalized by an individual. So this term means the above the ego and includes the moral ideas that a person learns within the family and society. So superego gives people feelings of pride when they do something correct, the ego ideal, and the feeling of guilt when they do something that considered to be morally wrong, the conscience. So the last part is the ego. Is thus a person's conscious effort to balance innate pleasure, seeking drives it with the demands of society or the superego. So the Greek and Latin word of ego is I, which means self. The ego is partly conscious and partly unconscious. The ego operates according to the reality principle, that is, it attempts to help the ego get what it wants by judging the difference between reality and imaginary, and act as a mediator or balancer between the demands of id and superego. So the Piaget theory of cognitive development. From his studies of human cognition, or how people think and understand, Jean Piaget 1896 to 1980 identified four stages of cognitive development. So the stage 1 is the sensory motor stage, first 2 years of life, the level of human development which individuals know the world only through the 5 senses. So the second stage is the pre-operational stage, about mga 8 to 2 to 7 years, at which individuals first use language and symbols. Stage 3 is the concrete operational stage, between the ages of 7 and 11, at which individuals first see casual connection in their surroundings. The last stage is the formal operational stage, about mga age 12 up, and at which individuals think abstractly and critically. So the third theory is the Mead's theory of social self by George Herbert Mead 1863 to 1931. For Mead, the self is part of our personality and includes self-awareness, and self-image. It is the product of social experience and it's not guided by biological drives, see Freud, or biological motivation, see Piaget. According to me, the key to developing the self is learning to take the role of other. Infants can do this only through imitation and without understanding underlying intentions. Have no self. As children learn to use language and symbols, the self emerges in the form of play involves assuming roles modeled on significant others or people such as parents who have special importance for socialization. Then children learn to take the role of several others at once and move from simple play with one another to complex games involving many others. The final stage is in the development of self is when children are able not only to take the role of specific people in just one situation but that of many others in different situations. Mead used the term generalized other to refer the widespread cultural norms and values we use as reference in evaluating ourselves. George Herbert Mead expanded Cole's ideas. Mead also believed that the self was created through social interaction and that this process started in childhood. So the fourth and the last theory is the Coley's looking-glass self. Charles Horton Coley, 1864 to 1929, used the phrase looking-glass self to mean a self-image based on how we think others see us. As we interact with others, the people around us become a mirror, an object that people used to call a looking-glass, in which we can see ourselves. What we think of ourselves then depends on how we think others see us. For example, if we think others see us as clever, we think of ourselves in the same way. But if we feel they think of us as clumsy, then that is how we will see ourselves. According to him, the self is developed within the context of social relationships. There is no sense of I without its correlative sense of you, here or thee. According to Coley, one discovers oneself through reaction of others to see him. So let's move on to the agents of socialization. Several settings have a special importance in the socialization process. This includes the family, school, peer group, and the mass media. The family, usually the first setting of socialization, has the greatest impact of attitudes and behavior. School teach knowledge and skills needed for later life and expose children to greater social diversity. The peer group takes a great importance during the adolescence. The mass media have a huge impact of socialization in modern societies. So our last topic is values, norms, status, and roles. Socialization is also defined as the process of preparing members for a membership in a given group in society. Through socialization, individuals learn the norms and values of their society. So values are culturally defined standards that people use to decide what is desirable, good, and beautiful, and that serve as broad guidelines for social living. Norms are the rules and expectations by which a society guides the behavior of its members. Socialization prepares individuals to occupy statuses and roles. Status refers a social position that a person holds. Unascribed status is a social position a person receives at birth or takes on voluntarily later in life. Examples of ascribed statuses include being a daughter, a Filipino, a teenager, or a widower. Achieved status refers to a social position a person takes on voluntarily that reflects personal ability and efforts. Achieved statuses includes honors, student, athlete, nurse, superwriter, and thief. Role refers to behavior expected of someone who holds a particular status.